Verses 9 to 10. The good effect of the care he had taken of them, and the pains he had taken with them. v6 They have kept thy word. v7 They have known that all things are of thee. v8 They have received thy words, and embraced them, have given their assent and consent to them, and have known surely that I came out from thee, and have believed that thou didst send me. Observe here what success the doctrine of Christ had among those that were given to him, in several particulars. They have received the words which I gave them, as the ground receives the seed, and the earth drinks in the rain. They attended to the words of Christ, apprehended in some measure the meaning of them, and were affected with them. They received the impression of them. The word was to them an engrafted word. They have kept thy word, have continued in it, they have conformed to it. Christ's commandment is then only kept when it is obeyed. Those that have to teach others the commands of Christ ought to be themselves observant of them. It was requisite that these should keep what was committed to them, for it was to be transmitted by them to every place for every age. They have understood the word, and have been sensible on what ground they went in receiving and keeping it. They have been aware that thou art the original author of that holy religion which I am come to institute, that all things whatsoever thou hast given me are of thee. All Christ's offices and powers, all the gifts of the Spirit, all his graces and comforts, which God gave without measure to him, were all from God, contrived by his wisdom, appointed by his will, and designed by his grace, for his own glory in man's salvation. Note, it is a great satisfaction to us, in our reliance upon Christ, that he, and all he is and has, all he said and did, all he is doing and will do, are of God. 1 Cor 1:30. We may therefore venture our souls upon Christ's mediation, for it has a good bottom. If the righteousness be of God's appointing, we shall be justified, if the grace be of his dispensing, we shall be sanctified. They have set their seal to it, they have known surely that I came out from God. v8. See here, first, what it is to believe, it is to know surely, to know that it is so of a truth. The disciples were very weak and defective in knowledge, yet Christ, who knew them better than they knew themselves, passes his word for them that they did believe. Note, we may know surely that which we neither do nor can know fully, may know the certainty of the things which are not seen, though we cannot particularly describe the nature of them. We walk by faith, which knows surely, not yet by sight, which knows clearly. Secondly, what it is we are to believe, that Jesus Christ came out from God, as he is the Son of God, in his person the image of the invisible God, and that God did not send him, that in his undertaking he is the ambassador of the eternal King, so that the Christian religion stands upon the same footing, and is of equal authority, with natural religion, and therefore all the doctrines of Christ are to be received as divine truths, all his commands obeyed as divine laws, and all his promises depended upon as divine securities. How Jesus Christ here speaks of this, he enlarges upon it, as pleased with it himself. Though the many instances of his disciples' dullness and weakness had grieved him, yet their constant adherence to him, their gradual improvements, and their great attainments at last, were his joy. Christ is a master that delights in the proficiency of his scholars. He accepts the sincerity of their faith, and graciously passes by the infirmity of it. See how willing he is to make the best of us, and to say the best of us, thereby encouraging our faith in him, and teaching us charity to one another, as pleading it with the Father. He is praying for those that were given to him, and he pleads that they had given themselves to him. Note, the due improvement of grace received is a good plea, according to the tenure of the new covenant, for further grace, for so runs the promise. To him that hath shall be given. Those that keep Christ's word, and believe on him, let Christ alone to commend them, and, which is more, to recommend them to his Father. He pleads the Father's own interest in them. v9 I pray for them, for they are thine, and this by virtue of a joint and mutual interest, which he and the Father have in what pertain to each. All mine are thine, and thine are mine. Between the Father and Son there can be no dispute, as there is among the children of men, about meum and tuum mine and thine, for the matter was settled from eternity, all mine are thine, and thine are mine. Here is the plea particularly urged for his disciples, they are thine. The consigning of the elect to Christ was so far from making them less the Father's that it was in order to making them the more so. All that receive Christ's word, and believe in him, are taken into covenant relation to the Father, and are looked upon as his. Christ presents them to him, and they, through Christ, present themselves to him. Christ has redeemed us, not to himself only, but to God, by his blood. Revelation 5:9-10. They are first fruits unto God. Revelation 14:4. This is a good plea in prayer. Christ here pleads it, they are thine. We may plead it for ourselves, I am thine, save me, and for others, as Moses, Ex 32:11, they are thy people. They are thine, wilt thou not provide for thine own? Wilt thou not secure them, that they may not be run down by the devil and the world? Wilt thou not secure thy interest in them, that they may not depart from thee? They are thine, own them as thine. The foundation on which this plea is grounded, all mine are thine, and thine are mine. This bespeaks the Father and Son to be one in essence. Every creature must say to God, all mine are thine, but none can say to him, all thine are mine, but he that is the same in substance with him and equal in power and glory. One in interest, no separate or divided interests between them. First, what the Father has as Creator is delivered over to the Son, to be used and disposed of in subserviency to his great undertaking. All things are delivered to him, Mt 11:27, the grant is so general that nothing is accepted but he that did put all things under him. Secondly, what the Son has as Redeemer is designed for the Father, and his kingdom shall shortly be delivered up to him. All the benefits of redemption, purchased by the Son, are intended for the Father's praise, and in his glory all the lines of his undertaking center, all mine are thine. The Son owns none for his that are not devoted to the service of the Father, nor will anything be accepted as a piece of service to the Christian religion which clashes with the dictates and laws of natural religion. In a limited sense, every true believer may say, all thine are mine, if God be ours in covenant, all he is and has is so far ours that it shall be engaged for our good, and in an unlimited sense every true believer does say, Lord, all mine are thine, all laid at his feet, to be serviceable to him. And what we have may be comfortably committed to God's care and blessing when it is cheerfully submitted to his government and disposal. Lord, take care of what I have, for it is all thine. He pleads his own concern in them, I am glorified in them didoxas mei. I have been glorified in them. What little honor Christ had in this world was among his disciples, he had been glorified by their attendance on him and obedience to him, their preaching and working miracles in his name, and therefore I pray for them. Note, those shall have an interest in Christ's intercession in and by whom he is glorified. I am to be glorified in them when I am gone to heaven, they are to bear up my name. The apostles preached and wrought miracles in Christ's name, the Spirit in them glorified Christ, ch 16:14 I am glorified in them, and therefore I concern myself for them. What little interest Christ has in this degenerate world lies in his church, and therefore it and all its affairs lie near his heart, within the veil. Therefore I commit them to the Father, who has engaged to glorify the Son, and, upon this account, will have a gracious eye to those in whom he is glorified. That in which God and Christ are glorified may, with humble confidence, be committed to God's special care.